if you look at the map, it covers Dataran Merdeka. That's the area that is off limits to us. It's off limits anyway because they have put up barriers, as you know, around Dataran Merdeka. Your question, of course, is what are we going to do tomorrow? So what we will do tomorrow is we will gather at the meeting points, which we have publicized for a long time. Everybody knows, the police know. We will gather there and we will make our way towards Dataran Merdeka in the hope that they will lift the barriers. All right. The judge is Magistrate, Mahkamah Magistrate Zaki Ashraf bin Zubair, Mahkamah Magistrate Jenayah Jalan Duta. So we will make our way towards Dataran Merdeka. We hope they will lift the barriers. We will not break the barrier. We will not breach the order. What we are hoping for is goodwill from the government and DBKL that they will lift the barriers and let us use Dataran Merdeka which belongs to the rakyat. So, sebagai pengumuman ya kepada orang awam yang we will describe here, we will proceed. There is no change. We will meet at all the meeting points that we have said we will meet at. We will be peaceful. We will start duduk bantah at sharp 2 o'clock, wherever we are. We will get as close as possible to Dataran Merdeka. We hope we can persuade DBKL to lift the barriers so that we can go into Dataran Merdeka. And we will start by singing the Negaraku at sharp 2 o'clock. And we hope everyone in Malaysia will join us at that time.
Tidak ada apa-apa perubahan. Bersih 2.0 akan terus berhimpun, tetapi kita tidak akan melanggar perintah ini. Kita tidak akan memecahkan tembok-tembok dan dinding-dinding yang menghalang kita masuk ke Dataran Merdeka. Bersih 2.0 berharap dengan jasa baik pihak dalam Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur untuk membenarkan kita masuk ke Dataran Merdeka agar kita dapat melakukan duduk bantah tepat pada jam 2 petang dengan memulakan dengan lagu nyanyian Negaraku. Adalah juga dimaklumkan bahawa jika kami tidak dapat masuk ke situ, maka Bersih 2.0 telah mengadakan 6 tempat di mana kita akan memulakan para anda berkumpul. Saya ulangi tempat-tempat itu. Di Dataran Gajah, Brickfield, di Jalan Sultan, di KLCC, di Masjid Negara, di Pasar Seni. Ini dia tempat-tempat itu. Sila naikkan. Ini dia. Ini dia tempat-tempat itu yang telah dipusatkan. Jadi ini semua tempat-tempat ini adalah berhampiran dengan Dataran Merdeka. Jadi kita tidak akan melanggar, tidak akan memecahkan benda itu. Tapi tujuan dan asas kami masih lagi 2 petang menuju ke Dataran Merdeka.
I need to explain. I just want to touch a little bit about the law. Now, as you know, the Peaceful Assembly Act was not in force prior to 23rd April 2012. Okay, and although we stand by the view that all those provisions are unconstitutional, nevertheless, earlier this week, Monday this week, the provisions were brought into effect, clearly for the purposes of dealing with Bersih 3. Now, we had, in good faith and in the spirit of cooperation, although the Act was not in force until the 23rd, sent a written notification to the police, informing them of the details of the rally rally on the 28th. And we sent that letter on the, I'll get it, the first letter of notification. Now the police then replied saying that they do not allow the rally. We sent the notification on the 16th, both to the police and to DBKL. Of course, DBKL said they didn't receive it, we sent it again. But the key here, under the Public Assemblies Act, we only need to notify the police, alright? So by their letter, the police then responded to say they would not allow it. Now, under Section 14(1), this is the law I'm talking about, Peaceful Assembly Act. Once the police receive a notification of an assembly from the organizer, it can only impose conditions on the holding of the assembly. In my view, and my reading of the provisions, and I have sought other legal advice on it, the police have no power to deny the assembly. They can only impose conditions. That's the whole point of the Peaceful Assembly Act. Now, if the police do not impose written conditions on the assembly, under Section 14(2), the assembly can proceed as proposed by the organizers. In their letter to us, although it was sent before the Act came into force, no conditions were applied by the police. So we say that the rally on the 28th at Dataran Merdeka is a legal assembly under the Peaceful Assemblies Act. That is our legal opinion. In fact, it is our view that the police have breached the provisions of the Peaceful Assembly Act by sending us the letter saying that they will not allow it. Now, as far as DBKL is concerned, we are of the view that Malaysians do not need permission to gather and sit in a peaceful protest at the Dataran Merdeka. And in our view, we do not require the Datuk Bandar's permission, as the Local Government Act, Dataran Merdeka bylaws does not require this. This is our reading. And I'll tell you, when I looked at the sections in those bylaws, subsection 8 of that bylaw, and I will read it, says no person shall, unless exempted, use the Dataran Merdeka for the purposes of holding any sport or game, public entertainment, public address, demonstration or assembly, meeting, gathering for any campaign, etc., without a permit from the Commissioner. Now that section is interesting because it includes demonstration or assembly, meeting, gathering, etc. So what that tells you is that the Datuk Bandar has the discretion to allow assemblies and gatherings and demonstrations. Those are the words used there. So it was within his power to have allowed us to use Dataran Merdeka for this peaceful gathering. But as you know, we were given the reason that it is not in the national interest, or it was not a national event. So then comes the question, between the bylaws and the Peaceful Assembly Act and the Federal Constitution, what prevails? In our humble opinion, the Federal Constitution, of course, prevails. And it is clearly envisioned under these regulations even, that under the bylaws, that this historic square, Dataran Merdeka, was to continue to be used by all Malaysians as a public place to come together to freely express their views, even if those views are not shared by the government of the day. So in our view, the refusal of the Datuk Bandar to allow us to gather at Dataran Merdeka is, in fact, an abuse of power. More so with the cordoning of the area. Now that is our view of the law. And I think we are all also concerned that despite the Public Assembly Act, the authorities continue to act under the bylaws and under the penal code. The order that was obtained by the police was under the penal code. So what's happened to the Peaceful Assembly Act? What has happened to the promise of the government that we will be allowed to assemble? So I think in all the circumstances of the case, we don't want to fight with anyone in authority, but, and in fact we would ask for their cooperation tomorrow to allow the government's promise to open up the public space to freedom of assembly to be upheld, to be honored. And that is what we will be looking for. Bersih 3 tomorrow is a peaceful rally. We ask everyone to come in peace. You will not be allowed to bring, for example, please don't bring umbrellas, bring caps. We will take away any implements that we think threaten the safety of any of the persons in the assembly. We will be very strict with those who seek to create trouble. We will hand them over to the police ourselves.
Yeah.
We will not tolerate that, not for a minute. And I can tell you, if there is any trouble created, it will not be by us. So we will continue with our gathering tomorrow in peace, as I say, and we have provided for security. We are happy the police will obviously be there because they will want to make sure the order is enforced. So they'll be there. And we hope for their cooperation as well to help us keep the assembly in good order.